Ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid God lecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushat chanagdish.
Welcome to Adath Yeshurun Synagogue. When this structure was built, the three arches that stand in the entryway were incorporated to remind us of the facade of the old building. On those arches were the words of the Shema, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." Those words are at the very heart of what it means to be part of the Jewish people in covenant with God.
Over that text, there are three Hebrew words: Torah, which refers to Jewish learning and wisdom of Jewish tradition; Avodah, which means service to God and worship both to spiritual and ritual practice; and Gimilut Chasadim, which means acts of loving kindness and should inform our acts of community and those around us. These are the things we're challenged to strive for as a Jewish community.
As you'll see, there are many doorways into Adath. Some of us open a few, others open many.
All the life events, from the birth of my daughters, my sons, the bearing of my parents, our bar mitzvahs, our children's bar mitzvahs, our soon-to-be grandchildren's bat mitzvah, all the life events, anniversary parties, whatever we did in our family was tied to the Adath.
Adath is a foundation for Jewish community, the wise, the playful, and the hungry. A spiritual resource, prayer, education, and motivation. A group of leaders committed to enhancing each Jewish life. Building a foundation for more than 120 years, Adath is the oldest conservative synagogue west of Chicago. More than 1,200 families make up Adath Yeshurun. As part of the conservative movement, our mission is to provide a progressive, egalitarian, and sacred community.
The name of our congregation, Adath Yeshurun, is a name I'm often asked about by visitors to the congregation. And I'll explain that Yeshurun is a name for the people of Israel mentioned in the Torah. Adah really refers to being a community, that literally the name Adath Yeshurun means the gathering of the righteous. And when I explain that to people, I often say that it's a name that we have to work hard to live up to. It's really a challenge to us as a congregation to fulfill what those words mean.
What the Adath means to me and my family really has a lot to do with the fact that we're not from the Twin Cities. When adversity hit our family this past year with the passing of my mom, it was the Adath and our wonderful clergy that really provided me with the moral fortification that helped me get through a very difficult time. Without solicitation, the phone calls came from the clergy. And on the day that we decided to bury my mom here in the Twin Cities, not one, but all three of them were there for me.
I think the thing that's most special about Adath is that so many meaningful interactions take place. We connect with people throughout our lives and in different parts of the community, but most often the meaningful interactions will take place in the synagogue. And so if you're spending time in the synagogue for an extended period of time, you're likely to see many of these meaningful interactions take place, because that's what we're about.
At Adath Yeshurun Congregation, the highest priority is to provide spiritual growth for our congregants. Our goal is to continue to provide the variety of quality programming to enhance your Jewish journey.
Tamod, 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 habachura bat mitzvah.
One of the things that I do with young people who are bar mitzvah is help them to go from the childlike experience of Judaism, try to begin the process of bringing them to an adult understanding of their own personal relationship with God, with the Jewish people, what that means, what's that about.
When it was time for my son to start preparing for his bar mitzvah, I felt that it would be unfair to expect so much from him and not to learn myself. So I wanted to take Hebrew classes and learn to read Torah for his bar mitzvah. And here at Adath, I found the right environment for me to do that.
What's special? Well, I think all the opportunities for learning and study. Other innovative things like the Chaver Kavod Emet, which I am part of, our own burial society where we do a preparation for a funeral, which is very traditional and done by members of the congregation, for members of the congregation. Our Gan is outstanding.
For many, a Jewish life means celebrations, lifelong learning, and the overall support that the clergy and the congregation provide during important times in our lives. Adath Yeshurun has a wonderful balance of all of these elements, and we think it's important to continue to find new ways to be successful as a congregation and as a community.
We introduced the new director of our Kala program, our retreat program for teenagers, and it was a great moment as she looked around the room and she talked about all of her connections to the synagogue, having grown up in USY, having been active in the congregation, the things that she celebrated here, her child's birth. She looked at people who had been her teachers, who were now her colleagues, and parents of the kids who were her teachers when she was young. And it was just a great moment. Everybody in the room had that sense of the continuity of this congregation and the ways in which people can continue to grow here and feel part of a community. It was a great moment.
It's not unheard of in one given weekend for us to do on a Saturday morning a blessing for someone's 50th wedding anniversary, and the next day to do a baby naming in the morning and then a wedding in the afternoon. So in one weekend we really can span different life cycle events, and they all happen in this building and sometimes beyond the walls.
Adath Yeshurun is our 21st century Jewish neighborhood with many unique doorways. Which one will you open?
Bivrachot, bivrachot, veshalom.